Hey everyone, if you want to make your own podcast but you don't know where to begin, Spotify for Podcasters makes it super easy. They've got everything in one place, it's totally free, and you can make money while doing it. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start doing it today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and pretty much everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also supported, and you can even conduct polls and Q&As. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, the platform is totally free. No catch, totally free. When I wanted to start my own podcast, I did not know where to begin, and I didn't think it was even possible. And Spotify for Podcasters made it happen. They made it easy, they made it quick, and I am doing something that I love. What more can I ask for? So if you're interested in starting your own show, you can do it, and I highly recommend you give this a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Everything Kratom, the podcast about anything and everything Kratom. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday morning. Hoping all is well with you. I am doing fine today. Actually, this morning I had green mangda and white Borneo. This is really becoming a killer combo for me, and I know that I've talked about it a few times before, but what was different was today I took it in capsule form when I usually do toss and wash, and I don't know what made me do it in capsules today, honestly. I mean, I was running a little bit late this morning. I really needed to get my butt into gear, but I don't really know. I mean, I've been in that situation before, and I still managed to do my toss and wash, so not sure what made me do it, but I decided to do capsules, so I did a standard size capsule. I believe I did 3 capsules of green mangda, 4 of white Borneo, and the effects took a while to come on, as I expected, and, maybe about an hour. And when they did come on, they came on very fast, which is very unusual because green mangda usually takes a while building. But today, it just hit. And it was very welcome and got me moving like nobody's business. So nobody is complaining here. I am very happy with that. I think that it was the white Borneo. I think that taking more of the white Borneo than the green mangda is really what did it. So this is kind of what's driving this experience. But it's really pleasant. It's a lot of energy at once. The green mangda is more of a background. It's like hitching a ride on this one. And maybe I would do it differently next time. Maybe I would just try and focus more on the white Borneo if I'm going to do whites. The two go together, but I think usually I've done green mangda as the primary driver and white Borneo is kind of like the one hitching the ride. So interesting stuff to think about. Anyway, all in all as well. So today, wanted to talk a little bit about Australia because I was searching through the web and finding different articles about Kratom, and I found this article talking about the law in Australia around Kratom. And it turns out that Kratom is Schedule 9. Schedule 9 is a prohibited substance, also known as a poison, which may be abused or misused. The manufacture, possession, sale, or use of which should be prohibited by law, except when required for medical or scientific research or for analytical, teaching, or training purposes. So I thought that was really interesting, and I always find different countries' views on Kratom to be interesting. So let's look into the specifics of what happens if you get caught with Kratom in Australia. So here are the key takeaways of this article. I, of course, will link this in the description of this podcast as always. It is illegal to possess, supply, manufacture, or produce Kratom in Australia. The offenses range from 12 months in jail to 2 years in jail, and or a $2,200 fine. Similar penalties apply across state and territories of Australia because Kratom is a Schedule 9 substance. Wow. So it's considered a poison. Having Kratom in Australia is considered a poison, and that includes New South Wales. So this is a biggie. So it means that if you are caught with kratom in Australia, you could be going to jail for upwards of 2 years, or you could be paying $2,200 in fines. That's pretty wild. Now, I think that if you go through this article, I think you find that most people end up getting out of the jail aspect of that. I think most people's punishments end up being fines, but it doesn't say that that's all. So, there is that possibility. The thing that I find interesting about this is the poison aspect. Why is kratom considered a poison? But it's not like completely scheduled out of like potential use, basically. Like, you can still, in Australia, it's considered a poison, but you can use kratom in certain therapeutic or medical settings or for scientific research. Like, what kind of poison should you be able to use in medical settings? Like, that it just doesn't make sense to me. It's a very specific wording issue, but it's like, if something's a poison, you can't use it to medically help someone. Right? Am I wrong here? Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of funny. So then the other thing, it goes on to say that Schedule 3 drugs in Australia, under the poisons list, are considered poisons for therapeutic use. Professional advice is recommended before use, although these can be available from a pharmacist without a prescription. So you can get poisons. Like, it's all considered poison. So that at least makes me feel a little bit better about the kratom being considered a poison, because it seems like they consider everything a poison. I mean, is Advil a poison over there? Probably. Who knows? But I just thought that was really funny and an interesting tidbit. And it gets you thinking, in different countries, you really don't know what the kratom law is going to be. And I kind of found this out when I was looking at Europe, ahead of my call with the European Kratom Alliance, Jakub from the European Kratom Alliance. That was a fascinating call. If you didn't get to tune into that one's on YouTube and a part of any platform where you're listening to this podcast presently. But I was looking at Europe and all these different countries. You could not guess which countries, had kratom listed as illegal and which ones didn't. And this is just yet another example. I don't know what I would have guessed when I learned about Australia. Before I knew, I don't know what I would have guessed they would see kratom as, but I was surprised to see that it's listed as a poison and that it's so restrictive. But at the same time, I was well aware that you really don't know with this one. It can be a wild card. So, very interesting stuff. That also made me want to look at New Zealand, because New Zealand and Australia, in my stereotypical non-educated mind, is like supposed to be similar somehow. Even though they're such different places, for some reason, it's just that their dang accents are close enough where I'm like, they're in that hemisphere, or they're kind of, they're not even close together. They're like so far apart. But like, listen to me, I'm already spewing lies out onto this podcast about how New Zealand and Australia are the same place. Anyway, don't take anything I say about New Zealand or Australia as fact. But with all that said, and before I get myself into more trouble, cut myself off here, I did want to look at New Zealand. So I looked at New Zealand as well. And for New Zealand, the law makes a little more sense to me, but I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it makes sense in terms of when I read it, I understand what they're saying. So here's New Zealand's set of laws. So they have it scheduled, they have kratom scheduled as a Schedule 1 substance, which to them, that means that you can use it according to a prescription that you receive from a doctor. So they do consider it a medicinal herb, but you're not allowed to buy it, sell it, trade it, import it, or export it. That's all completely prohibited. They say that they haven't completely banned kratom outright, but you can't grow it either. And there's no like free market economy around kratom. You can apply to have a prescription and get permission from your doctor to buy and use it. But that's it. So I thought that was an interesting set of regulations and laws. It does not line up closely with Australia for the most part. So defeating my stereotypical worldview of Australia and New Zealand having anything in common necessarily. Although their accents aren't too far apart in my opinion, but story for another time. Anyway, now I'm really getting into trouble. I better get out of here before I keep talking. So thanks so much for tuning in for today's episode, where I spew lies about 2 different countries, but at least share a few facts about them with respect to their laws around Kratom. So thanks so much for listening in, you guys. Hope you enjoyed this little goofy episode, and we'll be back tomorrow with more Everything Kratom. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.